they play.
It's possible, maybe, that the manager might think that they're possibly a little bit too similar in their styles of play and what he wants from them. But listen, until these different partnerships, if you like, in the centre of the park are tried and tested, we're still tried and tested him with extremely good players, don't forget. So whether he's a permanent long-term partner for Ugarte, we'll have to wait and see. As long as when he does play, whoever it is, we're winning games, then it makes the manager's job a lot more difficult.
Yeah, well, that is definitely the most important thing. A stat from the manager's time at Sporting, if you look back from the beginning of last season, he didn't lose a single home game in 22 matches. I believe that the aggregate score on that was scored 72 goals and only conceded 13. So if he can come in and make this stadium, make Old Trafford a fortress again, it's not only what everyone wants to see, but it restores that fear when teams come to Old Trafford.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. Teams have got to start being a little bit worried again and a bit cautious about coming to Manchester United. I think in any football club, the key to your success is making sure that you don't get beaten at home and taking as many points as you can away from home, but certainly making your home ground a fortress. And Manchester United need to fast get back to doing that. There's no question about it. And as I said earlier, playing in the Premier League is a lot different to playing in the Portuguese league. But if he can transfer the record that he had there to here, then we'll have a lot of very, very happy players and supporters.
Well, I think he knows more than most. I think he said in one of his first interviews, he said, don't mistake this big smile for naivety. And he knows the job he's coming into. He knows that it's going to be one of the hardest leagues in the world, that it is a big jump. And it's interesting, it's refreshing to see him say it how we're seeing it. Basically saying that we know this is the biggest league in the world, the biggest club in the world, and he knows the challenge he's coming into.
Yeah, of course he does, and he will have realised that very, very quickly when we played Ipswich last week. He was second from bottom of the league, and I think... I agree with you. I think he knew anyway, but I think that just compounded it, that this is a very, very tough league. Whether you're playing Liverpool, who are at the top, or Southampton, who are at the bottom, it's a very, very tough league. And he'll get to grips with it, I'm pretty sure, because I can see the levels of confidence and the levels of belief that he has in himself.
Yeah, it's absolutely spot on. I feel like the way he has spoken in his interviews beforehand restores a lot of faith in not only the fans but the players. He seems to be protecting the players. We saw Rasmus Hojlund Thursday night, starts the game, scores 2 goals, and almost should have had the first one as well when Garnacho came in and had a little tap in. I'm sure you'll know as a forward you've seen some of that, but he looks to have brought a new energy to his game.
Yeah, he does. And I've seen a couple of games this season, Thursday night being one of them, where you just thought that is what you want from your centre forward. You want that little bit of individual brilliance. You want the closing down that he did for the first goal that Garnacho slotted in. You want him as a goal poacher. You know, we saw a little bit of everything, and the one bit that I really enjoyed was when you've still got a slender lead, even though you're in control of the game, anything can happen. And with virtually the last kick of the game was Bruno's free kick, and he got that because of the way Rasmus Hojlund held the ball up. He pinned his centre-back, and there was no way he could get round him unless he fouled.
Well, one man who is just walking in now, getting a lot of attention from the crowd, is Andre Onana, and we see why, we know why. He is a fan favourite now. He had a tough start to his Manchester United career. He's really turned that around, and especially since the new manager's come in, we've seen his performance against Ipswich. He was sensational.
He was, and he's fast becoming, for me, one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. There's no question. The double save over in Turkey against Fenerbahce was just out of this world. The first one of those double saves was out of this world. I think a lot of people prefer the second one, and I can understand why, because he has to get up off the floor, something the goalkeepers work on all the time. But he's been brilliant, and I can assure you that he will be busy today against this Everton side.
Yeah, he will be incredibly busy, and I'm sure the defence in general, Sean Dyche knows what he's doing, experienced manager. Harry Maguire has just arrived. Is he going to be someone who's looking at this new system and think, I've got a good chance to play in this?
Definitely, for the simple reason being, is that his performances in the national team, where Gareth Southgate, when he was the manager, opted to go with a 3 on many an occasion, and he slotted in perfectly. And he'll be another one thinking, well, we're not playing with 2 centre halves now, we're playing with 3, and he'll be eyeing one of those positions, because until he got injured, I thought he was having a really, really good season. I honestly did, and he's still got a lot to offer.
Yeah, and I feel like you're probably not the best person to talk to about this, considering you used to be a forward. But when you are a centre-back, and then it changes into more of a dynamic shape where there's 3 positions available, you're sort of covered by your fellow teammates. Does that make it more interesting to play in that formation?
As you said, it's something that I've never experienced, but I would imagine that it does give you a certain amount of confidence that you've not just got one covering, you've got 2. Listen, as I mentioned earlier, as a professional footballer at the higher echelons of where they're plying their trade, you adapt. And Harry Maguire is the perfect person to quote for that, because an extremely good defender, really good in a back 4, but also seems to excel playing in a back 3 or a back 5, whichever you prefer.
We have just had a cluster of players that have just arrived, gone straight through to the tunnel, led by Marcus Rashford, who of course scored after 81 seconds in the game against Ipswich. Thought we were off to a flying start. That's got to be good for him, for his confidence, though.
Yeah, of course it has. I think that what will be disappointing for Marcus is that he didn't really, sort of compound his performance of scoring that goal by going out and I mean, it was a difficult game against Ipswich, I understand that. But in terms of early goals, I mean, we scored a goal after, like you said, 81 seconds at Ipswich, and it was less than a minute on Thursday night. Now, if we can get into a trend of scoring early goals, then that won't half settle the players down and make for a much more sort of comfortable team performance, providing that you can keep up that intensity from, obviously, that you put into the first couple of minutes of the game.
Absolutely. Just a reminder that all of this is being shot on Snapdragon, on the Snapdragon devices, as the players all alive. One player who has just arrived in that cluster, Mason Mount. Ruben Amorim has spoken very positively about Mason. I think the words were, "I love this guy." And it's nice to see, because since he's joined, he's also had his struggles with injuries and everything. All we want to see is see him do well here at Manchester United.
I thought, along with Nusayr Mazraoui, I thought he was he was probably our best player the other night. I thought he was excellent. I really did. He's such an intelligent player, and the little flick for the 3rd goal. Amongst other things that he did, his work rate, his intelligence in knowing when to press and knowing how to press, and he has that quality. And yes, another one who we perhaps haven't seen the best of yet, due to the fact that he's had, some really frustrating injuries. But undoubtedly, you don't win Player of the Year at Chelsea 2 seasons on the bounce if you're not a good player. And he is a very intelligent player, and somebody that I think can excel in this system.
He can play many positions in this system. He can sort of play the 10, the 8, the 6, potentially even the wing-back role if he was needed to play there. Is that why the manager thinks so highly of him?
Well, it's important to have players that are really good in positions, but it's also good to have that versatility, and he is somebody that can do that. You were mentioning earlier about who do you think could partner Ugarte, if you like, in the centre of that midfield. And because of the position that Ugarte plays, there's no reason why Mason Mount couldn't be that partner, but just in a slightly more, like you said, an 8 role, a more advanced role. Listen, the world can really open up for Mason Mount. He's a very, very good footballer, an intelligent player, and he'll be frustrated more than anybody. But under this new manager, with comments like that, you can see that he is going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, well, let's hope he does. Follow me. We're going to go and have a little chat to some of the fans who've had pictures, autographs, everything with the players. They've probably been here a while. Can I come over and speak to you for a quick second and just ask you about the signatures on your shirt? Who have you met?
Casemiro, Anthony, and
Hello.
Hello as well. You must just be excited as well, right? It's your birthday as well?
yes,
That's a brilliant birthday present, right?
yes,
How about you two gents? Who have you met?
Dalot and Anthony and Casemiro.
And Casemiro. Wow. Who are your favourite players?
All of them.
All of that. That's a brilliant answer. I got a question. How long have you all been here?
3 hours.
3 hours. You deserve. Go on, we'll speak to you anyway. You've not been here 3 hours, but how are you?
Pretty good. I've got like. Who did we get again? We got Casemiro. Who's that one right back?
Dalot.
Dalot, yeah. We got Anthony, and then the last time we came here, we got Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, and Tom Henderson and everyone. So I think Man United is just the best club.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well. Final question: is that moustache real?
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. We come to speak to you. How are you doing?
Good.
What are your thoughts on today?
Yeah.
Are we gonna win?
Yeah.
What? Give me your thoughts on the new manager. What do you think? You think he's exciting?
Yeah.
He's going to put Manchester United back to the top of the Premier League? Come on! Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's what we hope. Thank you very much. Enjoy the game. Right, we'll wander back. We'll go and find Ben Thornley. He'll be knocking around somewhere. I'd say about a majority of the players are probably inside the stadium now. Talk me through a player's perspective where you're in the stadium now, 3.5 hours before kickoff. What is the routine? Are you eating, prepping, last-minute tactics?
Yeah, I would imagine that is the reason why they are here 3.5 to 4 hours before kickoff, so that they can perhaps grab a little bit of a pre-match meal. And then they'll just sit and relax, I would say, for half hour, 3/4 of an hour before the manager calls them in and goes through whatever tactics and even names the team. You never know, they might not even know what the team is until about an hour and a half, 2 hours before kickoff. So, yeah, it'll just be having something to eat, relaxing, however they do that, and then the hard work starts.
We've just seen De Ligt arrive and just walk behind us into the stadium. We've spoken a lot about defenders in this 3-4-3 system. Someone who's probably led from the front since he's arrived at United, a brilliant player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's been really good. And again, somebody that I think will improve being here. I don't think there's any question about that. We have got defenders that are more than capable. We mentioned Harry Maguire. We've got Lenny Yoro to come back. Obviously, Martinez. And listen, let's not forget Johnny Evans. You know, what an unbelievable return he's had to this club. He's been man of the match, arguably, in quite a few of the games that he's played. So, listen, we've got all sorts of permutations that the manager can use there. And as we spoke about earlier, that is something that he's going to be looking at over these next few games before he settles on what he thinks is his solid 11.
Absolutely. Well, we've just seen Bruno and Malacia arrive as well. That's probably going to round it off for the players who have been arriving. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, it's all been shot on Snapdragon. We hope it's looked brilliantly. We hope you've enjoyed it. Matchday Live is on from 12:25. We have not spoken about Everton at all. There's plenty to talk about with them and how they're doing and how big of a challenge this is going to be for Ruben Amorim. So join us for that one. We'll see you then.